Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we take the knowledge you've gathered, the research you've pulled together, and really distill it down into the key insights you need. Today, we're digging into something, well, fundamental, a skill so powerful, some people actually call it a superpower. Reading. We're doing a deep dive into why reading is so important. Using the notes you've provided, our goal is to explore how reading, opens doors to new worlds, ideas, opportunities, especially if you're learning a language. But honestly, these benefits, they're for everyone.
That's absolutely right. And for this deep dive, we're aiming to go, well, beyond just the surface level. We'll break down the really practical, tangible ways reading works and the profound impacts it has, so you understand not just what it does for you, but really why it matters so much in your day-to-day life and mastering a language and, even in shaping who you are. The stuff we'll uncover is, frankly, fascinating. It runs deeper than you might think.
Okay, so let's unpack this. I think most people get that vocabulary is important. But why is reading such a better way to build it? It's not just about collecting words, is it?
Exactly. Yeah, forget the flashcards for a second, the endless lists. What your notes really show is that reading is like a stealth mode vocabulary builder. It just wires new words into your brain naturally because it shows them in their, let's say, natural habitat.
Okay.
When you see a word while you're reading, you're not just getting a definition, you're seeing it in action.
Right.
In context.
Right.
So instead of just memorizing curious, you might read, "The curious child asked many questions about the stars." That sentence, it gives you everything. You understand what curious means, like eager to learn, but also how it's used to describe someone. And that contextual learning, it helps you grasp it more deeply and, crucially, remember it much, much more easily.
And it's flexible, too.
Totally flexible. Think about adventure. One sentence, it's a huge trip, crossing mountains, whatever. Another sentence, it might be the adventure of starting a new job. Or even just a story in a book. Reading shows you all that flexibility so you can use words more naturally yourself, more precisely. It's kind of like reading teaches your brain the dance moves for the words. Makes learning fun and way more effective.
That makes sense. So connecting with words leads us, I guess, to something deeper. Beyond just vocabulary, reading seriously improves understanding.
Yeah.
Comprehension, right. How does reading actually force our brains to do that, to become these meaning detectives?
Yeah, it's pretty amazing, actually. Reading is like a full workout for your brain. It forces it to think clearly, to actively make connections between ideas, lots of intricate connections. Like when you're lost in a story, you're not just passively taking stuff in, you're actively following the plot, the sequence of events, beginning, middle, end. That trains your brain to track how things unfold logically.
Okay, so following the story structure.
Exactly. But it's more than that. You learn to figure out character emotions, their motivations, why they do what they do. If a character is sad because, I don't know, they lost their pet, your brain is processing that emotional layer expressed in English.
Which helps in real life, too, I imagine.
Directly. You relate better to people, understand those subtle feelings in actual conversations. And reading pushes your brain to practice critical thinking. You're constantly analyzing, guessing what's next. And maybe most key for language learners, you learn to guess the meaning of unknown words from the context around them without stopping for the dictionary every 5 seconds.
Yeah, that's a huge one.
Your brain just gets good at filling in the blanks. So all these mental workouts, following plots, understanding feelings, thinking critically, they train your brain to process English in loads of different ways.
So it makes other things easier.
Yeah, definitely. Makes it way easier to follow complex movies or understand song lyrics when they're sung fast, or just keep up in conversations with native speakers, because your brain is already used to handling English in these varied patterns. Plus, reading different types of texts, news articles, instructions, even poetry makes you incredibly flexible with English. You pick up different styles of writing and speaking. It's like a complete mental conditioning program. Sharpens your interpretation skills like nothing else.
Okay, so we've got words, we've got understanding. What does this all mean for, like, expanding your world, your actual knowledge?
Well, the beauty of reading, and your notes really emphasize this, is that you can discover so much about the world without leaving your chair. It's like building this huge internal library, piece by piece. You can dive into science, understand, I don't know, how plants grow or how weather works, complex stuff. Or immerse yourself in history, learn about major events, different cultures, understand how the past shaped, well, now. Understanding culture itself becomes more intuitive when you read about traditions, holidays, social stuff from all over. And, even something really simple like a cooking recipe can teach you new words, measurements, maybe even cultural things about food.
That's true. I learned what braising was from a recipe.
See? Exactly. And all this knowledge, it's incredibly practical. It lets you jump into interesting conversations, ask smarter questions, share your own ideas with more confidence, which doesn't just make you more sure of yourself when speaking English.
It makes you more interesting to talk to.
Undeniably. More compelling, more interesting. And for language learners, seeing how ideas are expressed clearly in writing, that drastically improves your own speaking and writing. You just sort of absorb how to say things logically, clearly.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Now, beyond facts and words, there's another crucial benefit, especially today, enhancing concentration and focus. I mean, we all struggle with this, right? The phones, the notifications. How does reading specifically fight against that constant distraction?
That's a really important point.
Yeah.
Yeah, in this world just saturated with alerts and social media, our attention is, well, it's under attack, basically. Your notes suggest reading is like a targeted workout for your brain's focus muscle.
A workout.
Yeah, it actively trains you to stay calm, stay engaged, despite all those potential distractions buzzing around you. When you read, you have to pay attention. Sustained attention to the words, the meaning, following the thread without losing it.
Unlike scrolling.
Exactly. Scrolling is passive. Reading demands active engagement, and the more you practice that, the better your brain gets at holding focus for longer stretches.
And that helps outside of reading, too.
Oh, absolutely. It spills over into everything. Makes studying easier, helps you listen more carefully in conversations, definitely boosts your ability to finish tasks without getting sidetracked. Think about reading, say, a dense article. It trains your brain to tune out everything else. That same mental skill applies when you need to understand complicated instructions at work or have a really important discussion.
Right.
So making reading a habit, you're literally training your mind to be stronger, more disciplined, more attentive. That's invaluable for language learning, for life, really.
Now, this next one, this is one of my favorites. It taps into something really human. Reading sparks imagination and creativity. It's that kind of magic, isn't it? Where words on a page make you see new places, picture interesting people, imagine wild adventures, like creating a movie inside your own head.
Yeah.
But how does that active process really work?
It's fascinating, isn't it? Because reading, as your notes highlight so well, it's anything but passive. You're not just getting information. You are actively building ideas and stories in your head. You read a description of a character. Your mind fills in the blanks, what they look like, sound like, how they act. A book describes a new world. Your imagination builds the landscapes, the sounds, the whole atmosphere.
You're co-creating it in a way.
Exactly. You're not just following the plot. You're often guessing what might happen next. It's a kind of mental simulation. And this constant mental exercise, it genuinely strengthens your brain. It helps you think outside the box, connect ideas that might seem unrelated. That's why, the sources put it so beautifully. Reading lets your mind travel to different worlds without leaving your chair.
I love that.
Yeah. Whether it's exploring ancient Rome or visiting futuristic cities or going on some magical quest, this imaginative practice is fun, and it's incredibly powerful for improving both your English and your creativity. It really makes your mind feel limitless.
Okay, so finally, all these incredible pieces, vocabulary, understanding, knowledge, focus, creativity, they all seem to come together. Because reading ultimately makes you a better communicator. And being a good communicator, sharing ideas clearly, speaking or writing, that's just essential today, isn't it?
Absolutely essential. And what's really powerful here is how reading exposes you to just a huge range of ways people express themselves, their thoughts, their feelings. By reading all these different styles, casual dialogue in a novel, a formal email, maybe an emotional poem, a detailed news report, you absorb how people articulate ideas in English.
You learn by seeing examples.
Exactly. You learn by osmosis almost, picking up subtleties in tone, structure, word choice. This exposure, it teaches you how to organize your own ideas logically, how to pick the right words, how to make your sentences interesting and correct.
And grammar, too. Does it help with grammar?
Crucially, yes. Your notes point this out clearly. You learn important grammar rules and how sentences are put together, often without even consciously trying.
Really? How?
Well, you just naturally notice things, how questions are formed, how verb tenses change correctly depending on the time you're talking about, how to use those connecting words effectively, like because or although, to link ideas smoothly.
So you absorb the pattern.
Precisely. They're not just abstract rules anymore. They become intuitive tools you can use. And these are the very tools that empower you to speak and write better. They help you explain your ideas clearly, tell stories people actually want to listen to, write messages people understand easily without confusion.
So fewer misunderstandings.
Exactly. Reading essentially gives you the foundational toolkit to be confident and really effective when you talk or write in English. It genuinely helps you connect with people anywhere in the world on a much deeper level.
Wow. So just to recap these reading superpowers we've discussed, it boosts your vocabulary, deepens your understanding, hugely expands your knowledge, sharpens your focus, sparks your imagination and creativity, and ultimately makes you a clearer, more confident, more compelling communicator.
That sums it up perfectly. So if you want to speed up your journey to fluency, if you want to unlock all these amazing benefits, we really encourage you, start reading every day. Even just a little bit makes a difference.
And read things you like.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. Crucially, choose topics you genuinely find interesting. That makes it enjoyable, sustainable, turns it from a task into, a pleasure. Just remember this core idea. Every page you read isn't just words on paper. It's a real step closer to unlocking your full potential, to achieving fluency. It's this continuous, enriching journey.
So if reading truly lets your mind travel without leaving your chair, think about this. What unexplored world will you choose to journey to next? And how might that journey shape not just what you know, but maybe even who you become? Keep reading, keep exploring, and we'll see you on the next deep dive.